With every breath, a promise to rise. Together we chase the limitless skies. Galvanize the world, feel the mold of my life. Every healthy choice, it feels so right. Data in our hands, we hold the key. A future built on trust and integrity. Galvanize the world, feel the light. With every healthy choice, it feels so right. Data in our hands, we hold the key. A future built on trust and integrity.
Well, hello to all you Galvanators out there. Byron Belka here with the team here on this Tuesday, which we do our Galvanator Unite call every Tuesday. Thanks for being here. Thanks for doing what you do. And I'm telling you what, with what we talked about last week and seeing what transpired over the last week with people going out there in the marketplace, using eyes, or actually swapping for eyes, it's been great to see what a community can do. And what excites me is, that's with a few people doing things. What's going to happen when we get hundreds and then thousands and tens of thousands of people and Galvanators here for the common cause of going out there and helping humanity, making people, give them that path and the options and the information they need to live their best self as far as health and wellness is concerned. And that's what I love about what's going on here with Galvan and with all the collaborations that are going on as we continue to expand and move forward. And as you can see, every time you get on this call every week, there's something new that we're sharing. There's something new that we're talking about, and that's called progression. And so I love the progression that's happening. I love seeing what's taking place in the marketplace, and ultimately what's going to be taking place in each and every one of your lives and other people's lives who we bring into this community, as it's a community that's running this thing. It's decentralized. We're going out there and making things happen as a team, as a group. And there's a huge difference than just the normal structure, normal way of doing things. So you see a lot of the different volatility. And here's one of the things that I thought was interesting. You see a lot of the different volatility in the markets, especially the last couple of days, last week or so, but it hasn't really affected us. I know we're just small and growing, but it's because what we're doing has a purpose, has real world revenue, has real utility. And so pretty exciting to see everything that's going on. So let's hop into things today. And I hope you're ready. Make sure that if you're not here with your teams, that you're making sure that they're aware of it. They're watching this on one of our streaming channels, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and we also have X or Twitter. So any of those platforms, this is streaming live, and you can typically go and find the recording afterwards. But it's always good to be here live, especially when we got announcements like we have here today. So let's kick things off and turn it over to the one and only Dr. Adam Sharp. Dr. Sharp, thanks for being here today and always being prepared to educate us and teach us a little bit more so that we can go out there, bless our families even better and those that we care about. So turn it over to you, my friend.
Thanks, Byron. It's good to be here. I'm glad to see you've been out in the sun, outside getting a little vitamin D. And I'm excited to talk about our topic today. I was a little worried. I'm like, maybe everybody knows the difference between Tylenol and Ibuprofen. And I posted some of a summary of this on a social media platform. And a friend of mine that's a former colleague who's done clinical research for 20 years asked a question about Tylenol. And I thought, okay, that made me feel better. I think if someone that's a health professional and done clinical research for 20 years still is having some questions about this, I hope this will be useful. So today's just a random topic. It's mind, body, soul, random. And so I think probably everybody that's on this phone call has tried or used Tylenol and Ibuprofen. And I'm going to talk a little bit about why you might want to choose one over the other and how they're similar in some regards and also very different in others. That this follows with our mission in Galvan. The idea is in order to empower ourselves, in order to galvanize the world, to heal humanity, we have to have a little bit of education and understand what we're doing. And so today we're going to just talk a little bit about Tylenol and Ibuprofen. I got a lot of content on these slides. You can go back and take a look at them. But the general idea here, I hope, will be communicated clearly so that you know a little bit more about these common medications. So first of all, what's in a name? You should know it's really a challenge with all the names of different medications. So Tylenol is the brand name. Acetaminophen is the generic name. And in Europe, for whatever reason, paracetamol is the name of Tylenol. So that is exactly the same medication. Tylenol, acetaminophen, paracetamol, exactly the same thing. Similarly, with sometimes more names, because there's a few more brands for ibuprofen, Advil, Motrin. I never even heard of this one. I found it online. Nurofen, and there's others, all the same medication. So it's important that when you buy something that you know, especially when it's a brand. And the reason why I say especially when it's a brand is because this point number 2, very often there are combination medications. And so it may say Tylenol cold, and it has like 3 or 4 different medicines in it. Or it might say, Excedrin migraine, and that might have, and then there's a bunch of different types of medicines that actually, they're all Excedrin, that's a brand, and it actually has a variety of different things. So make sure when you're getting a medication, you want to look at what is in it and make sure that you know what you are getting. And so that's just an important point. As you learn about Tylenol and ibuprofen, the first thing is it's important to know they have different names, and you shouldn't take more than one type at the same time. So hopefully this is just basic, but make sure that you look on your package and not just at the brand, but what actual medicine is in the medication that you're going to be taking. So we're going to talk a little bit about pros and cons and different things, but first of all is the name. So next, ibuprofen. Well, let me start this. Tylenol is in a category by itself. Tylenol is just acetaminophen, Tylenol, paracetamol. There's no other types in that category. It's just one of its own. Ibuprofen, on the other hand, is a part of a generic class of medications that's called non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, NSAIDs. So if you've ever heard of NSAIDs, there's a bunch of different NSAIDs. So if you choose it, we're talking about ibuprofen today because it's the most common, but you don't want to take more than one of these medications in this category. So if you like ibuprofen or aspirin or naproxen or some of these others that I have listed here, know that you shouldn't take those, with rare exception. For example, someone might take a baby aspirin for the antiplatelet effect, which is something you may hear, like when you hear about people getting an aspirin because they've had a heart attack or have a history of heart attack, or they're at risk of a heart attack. It's because aspirin has been shown to help with the platelets, which is one of the parts of our blood that can cause clotting. And that's often and sometimes what contributes to a heart attack. And so aspirin, if you just take a baby aspirin, then maybe you can take some of these others on top of it. But almost always, that's something you should talk to your doctor about with your unique case. You just take one of these. So you don't want to take naproxen and ibuprofen because you don't get the benefit of both, but you do get the side effects of both. So just important to know, ibuprofen is probably the most common form of NSAIDs, but you don't want to take ibuprofen with naproxen and with aspirin. Just pick the one that you like best and use it. To my knowledge, there is not great studies around which of these is best. Some people may like one that may be a little bit lighter on their stomach. There's different doses. And so there's different reasons that you may choose one or the other. But in reality, pick the one that you like, pick the one that you're going to use, and just use that one. Don't mix these. I've also listed some of these others. Some of these others are primarily prescription medications. And so they're also in the category of NSAIDs. And so similarly, if you've been prescribed one of these medications, you don't want to take an over-the-counter NSAID in addition to it. There's slightly different purposes, but these are different medications that, again, just so you know, if you've been prescribed one of these, don't take this along with ibuprofen or aspirin or naproxen. So hopefully that's helpful. Take-home message here, ibuprofen is in the class of NSAID, and there's a bunch of medicines there. So make sure you know you're not taking more than one of the same category of this medication. All right, next, Tylenol's mechanism of action. So here's the interesting thing. Tylenol is one of the most commonly used medications in the world, and it's still not entirely understood exactly how it works. There's a lot of potential mechanisms of action by which it can function, but the reality is we don't really know which of these is best. But here's the take-home message here. Tylenol primarily works on your brain. So our brain, as we know, is what perceives pain. It's also contributes to fever. And so if you have certain things like and we'll talk a little bit more about the reasons why you may take either of these medications, but just know Tylenol works on your brain. And so it's more our perception of pain than it is actually changing. And we'll talk a little bit more about ibuprofen, like inflammation. So let's talk about ibuprofen a little bit and we'll get back to this. But this is just FYI. Tylenol primarily works through your liver. Your liver metabolizes it into something that can be used in our brain. And that's primarily how it works. But it does not have any impact on inflammation. So people who have joint pain, for example, if they've injured their ankle or their knee or have a muscle strain, and you want to target typically the pain that comes from those types of injuries is inflammation. And so Tylenol might not be the first choice, depending on who you are and what the side effects are, but that's not its mechanism of action. It works in the brain. All right, ibuprofen. What is its mechanism of action? Well, ibuprofen actually, its primary mechanism of action is in reducing inflammation. So as I just mentioned, if you have muscle soreness or an injury or joint pain, ibuprofen is often the first chosen medication, unless, and we'll talk a little bit about more in just a minute, unless you have something that prevents you from taking ibuprofen. And then you can use either of these. That's why it's so hard and why we use them often interchangeably. Many people don't understand really the nuance between them. The other thing that I will add here is taking it for a fever. So both of these work relatively well for fever. As I mentioned, they have different mechanisms of action. For me personally, when I have a fever, if I'm sick and I'm just not feeling well, I will alternate these. That way, again, they come with strengths and weaknesses and have different side effects. And so if I have a fever and I'm not feeling good, I'll take Tylenol, and then 6 hours later or so, I'll take an ibuprofen and I'll alternate them because they both work pretty well for fever. If that's why you're taking one of these medications and the kind of general body aches that come with a fever often. So bottom line is mechanism of action. You don't need to understand any of these. There's some details in here about COX-1 and COX-2. It's non-selective inhibitor of both COX-1 and COX-2, which is how it actually decreases inflammation. You may be interested in that or you may not. It doesn't really matter, but just know ibuprofen primarily works at the source of inflammation. Tylenol works primarily on our brain and as we perceive pain. Okay, so the writing on here isn't terribly large, but this is with Tylenol. So what are the risks or cons to Tylenol and what are the benefits or pros to Tylenol? So as I just mentioned, if you're taking Tylenol, it's not great at reducing inflammation. So if you have an injury that is primarily caused, the source of the pain is inflammation, Tylenol might not be your best choice. The other thing is Tylenol can damage your liver. I mentioned that Tylenol is metabolized in your liver. So if you have liver disease or liver problems, then Tylenol may not be your best medication. The other thing is, and I mentioned this before, Tylenol is often in all sorts of other combination medications, cold or allergy medications. And so it may be easy to take too much. So too much Tylenol, if you take it as recommended, the appropriate dose, it's generally very, very safe unless you have an inherent liver problem. So it's not something to worry about. But Tylenol, again, the risks are mostly around your liver, doesn't impact inflammation very well. And it may be included in different medicines. So you want to read the medication label to make sure that you're not taking too much. So what are the benefits? Well, Tylenol in general is very safe. It's also much gentler on your stomach. So sometimes people are confused that, oh, if I take too much, it could hurt my liver. Maybe it's not good for my stomach. Well, that's not true. That's more NSAIDs or ibuprofen medicines. So Tylenol is usually much gentler on your stomach than other pain medications. It's also safe for most people, again, when it's used correctly. That's true of every medication. And it's very good for fever and it's good for generalized pain. This is also a medication if you have kidney problems. So this is not, again, doesn't generally impact your kidneys. And so people who have kidney disease, Tylenol is a very good medication, whereas NSAIDs can impact your kidneys. And as I mentioned before, often people take aspirin, which is in the NSAID category, to help prevent clotting or maybe prevent cardiovascular events, but that can predispose to bleeding problems, which Tylenol does not. So that's a pro. Benefits of Tylenol is if you have kidney problems, if you're you're on a blood thinner or have bleeding problems where you're not able to clot very well, then Tylenol is a great medication. I will also add here, Tylenol is a little bit different. NSAIDs over time have been shown to cause kidney damage, has been shown to cause ulcers. Tylenol, if taken as prescribed, doesn't, to my knowledge, does not come with the same long-term risks. So people who have to take this for long-term problems, say for chronic arthritis or different things, even though it's not the best anti-inflammatory medicine, if you're taking it over long periods of time, it's generally safer than the NSAID category of medications. So punchline, Tylenol, good for, it's not great at reducing inflammation. Know that Tylenol it impacts your liver. So if you have any liver problems and you don't want to take it, most people do not. And it's often in common medications. It's also gentler for your stomach. It's good for most other things, general body aches and fever and other things that cause pain. Since it works on your brain, works very well, and is better than other pain medications if you need to take it for a long period of time. Okay. Ibuprofen, what are the risks and cons? So again, I'm kind of sharing these simultaneously, which I hope is not too confusing, but one of the benefits of Tylenol was that it doesn't cause, it's gentler on your stomach. Well, ibuprofen is the difference. If you have a sensitive stomach, it often will cause stomach pain and can cause ulcers. Similarly, if you bruise easily or have bleeding problems, or you've been cut, or you've had a surgery, for example, often they'll tell you not to take ibuprofen or any of the NSAID categories because it may predispose you to bleeding. So those are the risks. It may also raise your blood pressure. So if you have high blood pressure, you may want to make sure that this is not a side effect that you have from this medication. And it's not always safe for people, as I mentioned before. If you have kidney problems, it can contribute to kidney function decline. And it may not be best, similarly, because of hypertension and other things, may not be best for you if you have heart conditions. So those are the risks. What are the benefits? Well, it's really great at anti-inflammation, as I mentioned. So if you have a simple short-term injury or muscle pain, is really great for that. It's really great for joint and muscle pain, and that's how I primarily use it. So if I have an injury or a strain or something, my go-to is ibuprofen for that reason. Again, it's similar to Tylenol for general fever or general pain, can also be used with good effectiveness. So here's your quick tips, okay? Use Tylenol if you need pain relief to lower your fever, or if you have stomach problems, or you can't take NSAIDs. So Tylenol's safe if you're going to be using it long-term, usually more safe than NSAIDs. If you have a short-term injury or muscle pain or something that is swollen or inflamed, then NSAIDs are really great, and they're really good for that. Third, as always, I am not giving you any specific individual medical advice. These are over-the-counter medications. This is just general health information that everybody should know. You should know a little bit about this. The other thing is I've just spoken to you about adults. I haven't talked to you about kids. Kids are a little bit different. They come with different dosing. Most of them can't take pills depending on their age. But we've talked today about adults. So make sure you read the labels, know what's in your medicine. Don't mix medications. Don't take a bunch of different things that are in the NSAID category. And similarly, don't take some of those combo pills that may have Tylenol and take more than the recommended amount of Tylenol when you're doing it. So with that, I hope that today you leave and you know a little bit better about when you have pain or you're sick or what your symptoms are, why you might decide to take Tylenol or why you might decide to take ibuprofen. And in so doing, I hope that just a little bit more knowledge out there is going to help us to galvanize the world and to heal humanity. So with that, I hope you know better about ibuprofen and Tylenol, and hope you had a great week. And I'm going to turn the time over now to Robert, our product guru. Take it away, Robert.
Thank you. Thanks for the advice. I will have to go back and look at that PowerPoint for insights. So that's great information. From a product perspective, I've got just a quick tip for you today. One of the things when you're starting to create a new habit is to have a partner that you can report to. So two things happen. As you report it, you publicize your information, and that kind of sets the bar down for you to say, you know, I'm putting it out there, so I've got to do a good job. And the other thing is to find a partner that you can trust that will continue to hold you accountable. So with most of our our vitals, if you will, the different things, we have a way that you can share them. So for instance, with heart minutes, if you go into your vitals, you can do that through the My Vitals on the quick menu, or you can just click on like heart minutes here, and that will take you straight into your vitals, and it'll show you for the week default of how I'm doing for heart minutes. And so it will show you a rolling week of how you're progressing on your heart minutes. The cool thing here is, like, for instance, yesterday looks like my lowest for the last 7 days. If I just click on it, I can see the number 36. And then if I want to share that, I want to put my stake in the ground, share that with a partner. It's hidden a little bit. So right next to the word heart minutes, you see the 3 little dots, the ellipse. If you click on that, you can create a goal. You can add it to just your favorites, or the bottom one is to share. So let's say I would like to, my partner is Aaron, I want to share that. If I click on that, we automatically take you to the feature to share it. I can click on Aaron, and then we will automatically post it, a screenshot of that. Notice that it even shows the highlighted number that I had there. And then I can just quickly put in a message or just share it with her if I'm doing this on a regular basis. So in that sense, that quickly, I have put my stake in the ground saying, behold, here's where I am, publicly announcing how I'm doing on my heart minutes. And then I've also shared it with someone. So that will help you, or help inspire you to continue to do your 30-minute activity a day. That is the tip of the day for the product. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Casey, our customer advocate. Casey?
Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to go over a couple more things with our wallet today. The swap contest is still going on. We're getting lots of entries for that, which is really exciting. So I'm just going to cover how to fund your wallet. So if you wanted to do a swap, but you don't have any ETH, USDC, or USDT in there to start with, I'm going to show you how to send some funds over from, in my example today, I'm going to use Coinbase. But basically, you're going to need a couple things. You're going to need your wallet address, and then you're just going to need a wallet to send them from. So in my Galvan account, I'm going to click here on wallet, and I'm going to come down to Ethereum, and I want to receive the Ethereum. So I'm going to click receive right here. And then you can scan this QR code if you're doing it from your phone, or you can just copy it like here. And then I'm going to go into my Coinbase account, and I am going to, I've already clicked on my Ethereum. I'm going to send crypto. So right here, I'm going to paste that wallet address. I always recommend to people, if this is your first time doing it, if you're nervous about doing it, always send an amount you're okay losing. So send $1 worth of ETH. If you're nervous about it, if you want to make sure you did everything right, don't immediately send millions and millions, especially if you're nervous. So I've pasted my send to wallet address in here. And then the big thing to remember here is Galvan is working on the Ethereum chain. You might be tempted to click this Base or Arbitrum just because there's lower fees. If you do that, your tokens won't be lost, but you won't be able to view them or access them. So make sure you're sending them on the Ethereum network. And I'm going to send $15 worth of ETH. So we're going to preview this. It's going to show me the send time, the total with the fees. I'm going to click send now. And then it'll take a few minutes for that to show up in here. But once you get it, you'll be able to see it in your transaction history. And then you'll be able to complete your swap. So I'm going to refresh this. We'll see if it comes in here. It might be slightly delayed. But once I receive that Ethereum, then, and you can do this again with USDC or USDT, then you'll be able to complete your swap and submit your transaction hash. And then you are entered into the drawing for the swap prizes. There is one each week, and we're going to match whatever you swapped. And then at the end of the month, there's going to be a grand prize drawing, and everybody that has entered throughout the entire month will be eligible to, is eligible and entered into that drawing. So make sure you keep submitting those swaps. Multiple entries are accepted. So If you have any questions on that, you can always go to our support page. There's a promotion section, and it has the Eyes Swap promo, has all the details about it, the flyer, everything like that. If you have any questions, you can always submit a request and then reach out to our support team and they will help you out. You can also go to this Galvan support, and to get instructions of how I just transferred everything, I just searched for fund, and it's how do I transfer funds to my Galvan wallet? That will give you some step-by-step instructions of how you can fund your wallet. Again, any questions, just submit that request. So it looks like here I've already received my tokens, and then if I wanted to, I could go straight into the swap and complete a swap. So that's pretty much it for me. But if you have any questions, again, just read through those FAQs and then submit a ticket if you need it. And I'm going to turn things back over to Byron.
Awesome. Hey, thanks so much, Case. Appreciate that. Appreciate all the information today that we heard from Robert and that we heard from Dr. Sharp. I mean, yeah, I didn't know a lot of that stuff with Tylenol and ibuprofen, but I do now. So that's awesome. Thank you for sharing. Good to know. And that's the thing. It's all about education. Think about this. What kind of decisions would people make if they really had all the information in front of them? I mean, that's the basis of everything that we're doing here. You know, having that information in front of us and being able to make our decision on our own rather than just trusting somebody else is going to give us the correct decision. We're not having all that in front of us. That is what I love about Galvan and what it's all about. And that is getting the information to people so that then they can make those educated decisions. I mean, it's hard to know where we're going when we don't know where we're at. That's what we're trying to do with the G Plus app, everything else that's going on, being able to decentralize things and control it. And that's really what it comes down to. It comes down to control and where that control is. So, you know, if we are going to blame whatever it is around us, maybe it's governments, maybe it's situations, even if it is the case, even if it is somebody else's fault, even if, you know, somebody shouldn't have done something, if we're going to blame, then really what we do is we put the power in that person's hands. And it's like it's outside of our control. We can't change it. The reason it's so important for us to take decentralized action, kind of like to own our not just our medical data, but to own our futures, is because then we have the ability to make the changes necessary to go out there and do it, rather than say, I can never do it because I don't have the power to. Anytime we're pointing somewhere else, that's what we're doing. We're giving other people the power instead of saying, no, we can change it and we can do it. And that's why I wanted to just talk a little bit about a couple things. But one, the whole decentralized nature of what we're doing. You know, just like the fact that here at Galvan, we're trying to decentralize and give people the power with their medical records. We're empowering people in general. And one of the things I want to share, just so that you can understand this, because I get it, you know, talking with people, and I'm sure you're dealing with the same thing. You go out there and share things with people, and it's just difficult a lot of times for people to understand, you know, what it is and what it really means. Now, years ago, and I've been back and I've lived there multiple times. Years ago, I lived in a country called Hungary. I learned Hungarian. I moved my family back there later, and we lived there a little bit. I don't know of any Hungarian ancestry that I have. Maybe I have some. I don't know any of it, but I learned Hungarian. And here's what happened when I learned that language. A whole new world opened up to me that I didn't understand or know otherwise. And so because I learned that language, I was able to have a brand new world and experiences I never would have had. And the reason that I'm bringing this up today is because I feel like we're speaking a different language sometimes when we're talking blockchain to people, right? We're talking about tokens and blockchain and decentralized and all this. It's like a whole new language. And sometimes, you know, somebody could feel a little bit overwhelmed. And that's why we're here as marketers. What's going to happen as we market and share this is we're going to make it a lot more user-friendly over time. But let me tell you this, if you learn this language of blockchain, if you take the time to really understand it, watch some YouTube videos, do some training, get on these calls, this is a language that when you learn, you know, hypothetically, then you're opening up a world, and it's a world that could possibly set you free. So this is a language that you want to learn. So even though it might seem like, wow, it's difficult, I got to do this and do that. It's not that the difficulty will change. It's that our ability to do it will increase. And that's what we need. The more and more people we can get to learn this blockchain language, and it's coming, the new world opens up to those people, and opportunities open up to those people that otherwise wouldn't have opened up. So the only reason I'm saying that is I do understand, as I'm teaching people and training people and I'm getting involved with Galvan and with the collective and everything we're doing. I understand that this is a little bit different, but you need to tell people and share with them, this is like a language and it's worth learning, because this is the future. This is the language that AI works the best on. This is the way that things are going. And this is the possible language for our futures. So, and our future opportunities. So I wanted to stress that real quick as I get into this. But I mean, as you think of centralized and how things typically go, like when we're on our computers or we're sharing stuff back to a database to where data is stored, it's easier for it to be hacked. It's easier for it to be go down. All of those things because it's in a centralized location. But the thing is not just the location. It's who's in control of that. Who's in control of that data? Who's in control of that location? That's why this network that we're building, I mean, I almost think of this like, why are we going out there and talking about nodes and then all of these other things? Is it more than? Absolutely, it's more than the nodes. We got the marketplace, we got the utility and all of, but I live in Utah, and behind me is a mountain. We're kind of where I live. In the mountains, we have these reservoirs because we live in a desert. We need water. So we have these reservoirs. Now, I don't have to wake up every morning and go grab a bucket of water, go up to a reservoir and grab the water. What's happened is somebody has created a network, a distribution of water that we have millions of people can turn on a faucet and water comes out of their faucet. Yeah, there was a lot of work that had to be put into that for me to be able to turn on that faucet and have water come out of it. Now, the beauty of what we're doing here is we're building that same kind of a community. We're building that same kind of a distribution within Galvan and in the collective and everybody that we team up with. That's what's going on. And we're empowering the people. Okay. So who is it when it comes to more of a decentralized? Where does that information go? Who's validating it? Who can turn it on and turn it off? Who can control it? It's the community, guys. It's all of us. So now the information's going out and it's not all just in one place. The validation of the healthy actions and the blockchain and everything that we're doing, we've got a node network that we're creating that isn't just one person that can control it all. It's the community. And when we really understand what that means, and can understand what this world of opportunity creates for every single one of us, it is so huge because it really is empowering. It really is saying, no, we have control over our futures. Somebody can't just turn it on and turn it off on us. We're building our own community. We're supporting our own blockchain. We're creating the opportunity because technology exists today to do things that we couldn't have done 50 years ago. It didn't exist. We couldn't have done it 50. We can do it now because of Web3 and blockchain and decentralization and all these things that I know are words that people hear, but it's time to learn that language. So my challenge to every single one of you too is to take time every single day, if not week, to study more about and understand what this really means, what we really have in our hands and what we're doing. And so the different things that we're doing with a purpose. One of the reasons that we have the promotion going on that we have going on right now is because we want people to learn and understand, how this whole thing works, how blockchain works, right? We want people to understand, how to go and swap, how to use the wallet, how to do the things that we're doing. So that's why we do have this. If I bring this up a little bit, we do have this challenge. So what we want to do is we want to announce first off the winner of this last week. Now, as you know, and you heard, we've asked people to take their transaction hash, submit it to customer service. Casey's been keeping track of all of those. And we're going to give a winner. And the person that we call on today, whatever amount that took place in that transaction, we're going to double it. And guess what? We're going to do it this next week too. And we're going to do it all month. And we're going to have some grand prize winners at the end that we're going to, double 3 times or even more of whatever that transaction hash was. So excited about announcing who our winner is. I'm going to pull this down here. So what we're going to do, we're going to kind of use a randomizer here. In case I might bring you back up on screen so you can tell us who the winner is as I do this. So we have got right here, we've got, I've got this little app and I put in from 1 to 96. And so I'm going to just get a random number. I think it was 96 or 98. What was it, Case?
96.
96. Okay. And so I'm just going to pick right here. It's just going to generate a number, and then Case is going to let us know who the winner this week is. So I generate. Oops. Now it's trying to sell me something. Okay. So we will see. There we go.
25.
Is 25. So who is our lucky winner this week?
Latasha M.
Latasha M. Well, thanks, Case. So what do they need to do? They need to
So I'm going to send them an email with the details, and I will go into my Galvan account and I will send them their tokens right now. So
cool.
Keep an eye on your tokens and an eye on your email.
Hey, thanks so much, Case. Appreciate you. So cool. Well, congratulations. We had our winner this week, and we're going to do it again next week. Guys, this is real token. This is real value. And we're doubling it for those people that are going out. And once again, why are we doing this? We want you to learn. We want you to understand how to do this, because it's empowering. Because not only can you do this for yourself, but what we need leaders to lead. And those people that can go out there and share, those people that can educate, you're going to have a lot of people follow someone who knows what they're doing and where they're going. And so we want to continue to educate and help make things better for you, but then obviously for your future and your future community that you help build here. So one of the things that we're going to do this week, and we have got, if you go to our calendar, and hopefully you're going there, you go to galvan.health and you click on our calendar each week at galvan.health, you're going to be able to see the link for each Tuesday that we're doing, anything else that's up and coming. We do have, here you can see right here, there's the web page right there. You go click on the calendar and you're going to be able to see. Now you can also request to have notifications. So one of the things that we're doing is we're going to be doing one call tomorrow. We're not going to be doing a new noon call because of some other conflicts, but we're going to be doing a call tomorrow at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. And so for those people that get on that call, if you're in the time zone, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go over the collaboration between Galvan and the Well Collective, how it works, and the benefits there of it. So it should be super clear on really what people need to do to be able to see and to be able to go and participate. So here's where you're going to find it. You're going to find the details on the calendar. Always go to the calendar. That's the default. And then you're also going to be able to see here tomorrow at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and it is going to be at meet.rlink.com/future. So we're going to use our a blockchain service there, our meeting software that can help, do this presentation. That's where we're going to do it. So now that you're aware of that, hopefully see you there tomorrow. Tomorrow at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, we're going to get on there. We're going to break this down on what does somebody really want? What is it that you're wanting? Okay, it's great that we're innovators. It's great that we're learning this new language called blockchain. But how do we make it change our lives? We can have the greatest tools, but if we don't use them, they're no good. Okay? It doesn't matter if we have the greatest tools if we don't use them. We want to teach people how to use them, how to get the most out of Galvan, the blockchain that we have here, how to get the most out of the G Plus app, how to get the most out of the collective, and how to use these tangible products to help build the community. Okay. So that's going to happen tomorrow at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. I'm excited to get on there and share with everybody, but so many great things are happening. So what are the takeaways today? Well, obviously we got all the education from everybody that shared today. Awesome stuff. But I also want us to, one, let's go educate ourselves. Let's take this serious. Let's learn this new language of blockchain so that we can understand it, so we can lead. Okay, two, let's go and do some additional swaps. Let's have a chance to go and have those eyes doubled for you as we're teaching people how to do this. And so it was great if you did it. If you didn't do it, I challenge you this week to go out there and do it. Now, if you did do that, my challenge is for you to go and help people that you know do that. I helped my uncle yesterday. Okay, he hadn't even bought a node yet. I think he will, but he hasn't even bought a node yet. But I showed him how to buy 1 million eyes out of the market yesterday. Just go and buy 1 million eyes out of the market. I taught him how to do that. And if people aren't interested in a node, if they're not interested in any of those things, I still want them to be interested in what we're doing in the marketplace as well. There's multiple ways for people to be interested in the tokens and seeing what we're doing. So I love what's happening. So as far as what we're going to do this week, guys, we just got to get into a rhythm and a cadence. And it's the rhythm and the cadence that create the consistency, that create the momentum. So it doesn't matter. I don't care how many hours you're putting in every week, as long as it's something and as long as it's consistent. I've watched people change their lives because all they did was just consistent, whatever amount of time they could put into building their community, to learning and educating themselves on a project. And I've watched people's rags to riches stories. I've watched people change their life health-wise. It's always those small little increments that compound over time that change things, that create real change. So thank you for tuning in today, everybody. Grateful to have the team that we have here at Galvan, and you out there in the community as we're going and building this community together. Let's go have an awesome week. I'm Byron Belka, and I'm a Galvanator. We'll see you. Take care, everybody.